You don't want to play dodgeball? The fuck is wrong with you?
Guys, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. So, everyone, welcome to another episode of Beers and Stories. We are here in beautiful, is this St. Augustine? St. Augustine, Florida. And I have Jake and Gino with me. Tell everyone hello, guys. So Jake and Gino, I'll give you the 10-second backstory, and they probably do a way better job than I can. So, Jake and Gino are in the multifamily investing business and have kind of spread their fingers out into a few different pies. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about it. But I actually bought your book way back in the day. So Wheelbarrow Profits, right when it first came out. Probably read it cover to cover 15 times. And
I think you read it more times than we did that. Right?
Oh, well, good. I mean, it
appreciate
worked.
that.
Yeah, hey, no problem. You guys did really well. And full confession, I actually didn't use it to buy apartments. It was on a commercial deal.
Yeah.
But the principles were the same.
Oh, cool. So we got overlap.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard overlap with the framework, you know.
Yeah, it was, and it worked well. You know, I was kind of muddling around in the single family space a little bit, and I kept looking for apartments. You know, I'm reading the book. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and it was honestly kind of what you.
What
guys
kind of
were.
commercial do you get into?
Just a little 8-unit office building right there in Scottsdale where I live. It's nothing fancy, but it's got it has a cap rate that makes people's eyes bug out of their heads.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a cash king. But I remember I was bebopping around looking at all these small multifamily deals and just getting my butt kicked. I mean, brokers laughing, the whole you know how
Been
it
there.
is. I'm
I
like,
get that.
yeah, they're like, you want what? Click, like, don't call me
Yeah.
again, lose my number, and then you know, found it was kind of the ugly day. It was on LoopNet, for lack of I mean, LoopNet is where deals go to die. We all know this, right? Like the newbie commercial.
You came to resurrect.
I mean, I doubt that one sale's going to bring them back, but
No.
Yeah.
You resurrected the deal on LoopNet. Yeah,
but it did. I mean, LoopNet, it was dying on LoopNet.
Yep.
You know, the whole night, it had every kind of indication. It was total mom and pop. Old couple owned it. No systems, no nothing. You know, taking rent in cash.
He did read the book, huh? I
did.
like
Yeah,
that, huh?
and it worked. It worked really well. It's one of my favorite deals I've ever done. Got the owner to carry it, the whole 9 yards. So, you know, one, obviously, thank you for writing the book. And, yeah. So, do you want to give a real background story? Because that's just mine about
I
you.
will. Well, I'll take a joke first. It took us to write a book for him to read a book, right? So,
pretty much.
you know, he's Mr. Audible. So, no, I mean, he's a voracious Audible reader, listener. But, you know, the funny thing is we met a long time ago, maybe back in 2010. It's about 10 years.
Okay.
I had a restaurant. He was a pharmaceutical rep.
All right, the pizza guy and the drug guy.
Yes.
Got it.
So what I liked about him was he was one of the only guys who was prepared. He'd come in, he'd say, I needed a dinner or a bread at this office at this time. I'm like, wow, that is awesome. He's actually
A month in advance.
Prepared.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
So when
Okay.
you're in that space, they come in the day before and go, I need $500 of food down to the Bronx. I'm like, I need to get food. I need to get delivery guys. So I said,
Sure.
I like this guy.
Okay.
So I'm like, at this point, I don't want to be in the restaurant business anymore. I don't want to work on the holidays. I don't want to work on the weekends.
Sure.
I want to do real estate. And New York at the time was a little overpriced, like it
Okay.
always has
And
been.
that's where you're from, correct?
I'm from New York, yeah. And same with Jake. He says,
Okay.
I'm going. I'm out of here. I'm taking a lateral transfer. I'm going to speak for him now. Going down to Tennessee. I said, great.
Wow.
When you get down there, let's look at the multifamily thing. And he's like, okay, let's look at it. We
Sure.
start looking at it when he gets down there. I'm
This
like,
was literally the last day, though. By the way, because I'm gonna tell a little bit about him now. Because he says like, Gino was pissed. He was in the back of the restaurant, like
Okay,
this.
I was grumpy.
And,
Let me
and
tell you.
so we're at his house right now.
A grumpy New York pizza guy. You don't say.
Full transparency. We're at Gino's house right now, and his brother Mark is downstairs. And Mark and I used to go to Yankee games.
Okay.
And so Mark was front of the house, and Gino was the back of the house. So a lot of times when I saw Gino, he was like this. I was like, Mark, why is Gino always so pissed off, right? Because Mark and I are like going out, having beers, going to Yankee games, right, and having a good time. And while Gino's dealing with the you know,
I'm washing
people in the
dishes.
back.
I'm
you know,
sweeping
it
the
was
floor.
Oh, man, so the apartment business is like a vacation at this
For
point.
me, it's a completely different thing. The one thing that the restaurant business taught me is hard work. That's what it is in life. So, I mean, apartments are hard too. They're different kind of hard. I mean, it's a
Much different kind of hard.
Different kind of skill set. But, I mean, working hard is 3 times of working. Working hard, working smart, working passionately. That's what
Yeah.
I call the Trinity. If you can do all three of those, you'll have an awesome life. You'll be able to live on the beach.
Sure.
Seriously.
Yeah,
But working
this is a
hard,
beautiful
I mean,
place.
I don't want to hear the 4-hour work week. Maybe when you've built the systems, you can do that.
Sure.
But on the front end, to create the multiple streams of revenue that we're doing, there's a lot of work on the front end. There's a lot of risk on the front
I'm
end.
the complete opposite, man. I've got 4 hours in before most people's days start. So like it is hard work, and that's why I can't really get connected with that. I appreciate trying to find people to partner with and be able to sub stuff out when it makes sense. But I definitely I can't say that our success is anywhere correlated with that type of mentality.
No.
I would guess that the 4-hour work week took more than 4 hours to write.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the smartest guy in the
A
world,
week.
and I love Tim Ferriss. He's obviously a talented interviewer, and his books are great. Interviewing the successful people. But a lot of them have said the same thing. The 4-hour.
If you want 4 hours and you want to make $40,000 a year, I think there's probably savvy guys that could do that. If you really want to focus more on just spending time and doing things that you're passionate about that maybe are not making you money.
Sure.
And that's the point. That's the point I was trying to make. The third one is when you work with passion, you become financially free. Then you're saying to yourself, I'm going to retire. Well, this is me retired, but I'm working more hours than I was. But I'm doing stuff that I love. I'm helping people
But is this
out.
work right now? Are we working right now? I don't know. Does this classify?
Right now we're not, but let me tell you.
This is
night-
work?
My office. I mean, it's Friday.
So this is work. I just want to make sure, because like when I grew up, this is not work. This shit is not work right now.
No,
Okay,
we're
so
working right now.
okay.
Well, listen, last night I was on call. I didn't tell you this. We're on a call, a mastermind call. One of the students says to me, I'm putting in my resignation tomorrow. I'm like, dude, that's why. I mean, if you can affect
awesome.
people and help people out, the more of those stories that we get, should have been on the call. It was great.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, it was like, all
Oh,
right.
that's
Because he was
fantastic
teetering.
to
He was
hear.
teetering. I'm like, I'm worried about the education. I'm worried about the health insurance. And we had 3 other guys on the call, and they're all supporting him, saying, you can do this.
Sure.
So you need that push sometimes from a community. And that's why we created the Jake and Gino community, to help
Absolutely.
people, to get people on board, to become raving fanatics of multifamily. And not to hear the naysayers say, you don't have the money, you don't have the experience, you don't have the
Sure.
time. You don't need that. You need the community. So that's why we created it.
Oh
And
no, I 100% believe it. Again, I mean, I'm not part of the training or anything, but literally, I mean, we'll go back to
This is part of the training here.
Yeah. Oh,
This is it today.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm being trained. Then.
The book is the gateway, man. You went
Yeah.
through the gateway 15 times, so you're in it.
Perfect. So going back to the first book he ever read, it was one where you kind of have to have the push and not take a no for an answer. And I'm sure you guys have got a ton of stories like this. But the deal I did in Scottsdale, everyone told me it was impossible. They're like, you're about to try to find something at 50% of market value with an owner carry in one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. No way. Pound sand. Get out of here. And you know what? It was hard. I definitely have less hair on my head now than I did when I started.
That's a fresh cut, man. Come on.
Yeah, well, back there's the problem.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, I pay to get this done. That goes all by itself. But then all of a sudden it was done. And, I tell people about it now, the mechanics of the deal. I said, no way, it's impossible. But for the 50 people that said, there's no way, there were 1 or 2 in my kind of circle, my community, who was like, what have you got to lose?
it's funny you say that. 50
Right?
people, 4 to 5% in this country are successful and are wealthy. And
Yeah.
those are the 4 or 5 people that say you can do it. And you have to find those 4
And
or
it's
5
the
people.
persistence, man. Like the best thing that we did in the beginning was we didn't quit. We kept getting hit in the gut, told no, you guys are crazy. This is never going to work. The same stuff you were going through with the
Really?
brokers for 2 years. It was 18 months to be fair.
And this is where? This is in Knoxville?
It was 18 months of you suck, get the hell out of here. Until we
God,
got
that
a
sounds
deal.
familiar.
Until we got a deal, and then it was all of a sudden, well, okay, you got a small 25 unit deal. Let's talk a little bit. And then a few months
Yeah.
later, we got 36. Then we did 136, and now they're calling us saying, "Hey, I got something for you."
Get out of town.
So it's that credibility and proving that you're in it to win it. You have staying power.
Sure.
And that credibility. The minute you get that first one, starts to turn a little bit. Then you get that second one, and now it's like game on. And then
Sure.
it's been every 3 to 6 months since then. We've
Let's
been knocking them out.
rewind a little bit.
Okay.
The words were, y'all ain't going to do business down here, right?
Verbatim.
Oh, yeah,
Verbatim.
that's-
And
Now
you
that
got
sounds
Verbatim.
like where I
From the
grew up.
self-proclaimed top broker
Yeah.
that we've never heard from again.
You got Stenziano and Barbaro. You know what I mean? You got
Yeah.
2 guys from New York with the vowels ending in their last name in Tennessee. You know what I'm
That-
saying?
that-
I'm
that
not
was-
generalizing, but
that was,
it don't work too well. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
that was slowing us down a bit, I think.
So, yeah,
you know,
it really was.
you know,
But then at the end of the
And,
day,
and I was a really I was very calm and not aggressive with guys either, right?
Yeah,
that didn't help.
I get
Yeah.
that vibe about
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah.
Right, a New York
Yeah.
drug rap who used to sling pizza
Yeah.
and a grumpy chef go to
who would be
Tennessee.
jacked up on espresso all day long in your face,
But
right?
you know what it is, though? It's a good dynamic because I was a little bit more the elder statesman. I was
course.
more the coaching student. I had a life coaching background. So when he had issues, he'd call me up and say, I want to kill this guy. I'm like, just calm down. Let's think about it rationally. Not detached, right?
Can we talk?
And
Can you slow down for a
And
second?
it really
Phil?
helps, you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So partnerships are great. You
absolutely.
do multifamily alone. When you want to scale
That's true,
up,
by the way.
that's the fallacy.
He was like, you can tell a story about the guy that you thought was going to throw a rock through the window.
yeah.
Like,
So I've been through it, right?
Throw a rock through the window?
well, no, there's a guy that's like stole, like literally people have stolen checks and like tried to handwrite their name over the checks before.
Oh, out of the rent box.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was a
No
maintenance
way.
guy, and I was like, Gino, I'm about to kill this dude. And he's like, pump the brakes, all right? Because if you do, then the next thing is this guy's gonna end up, throwing like a rock through the window. He's gonna cause more damage, and it's like like, not really. Is it really worth it in the big scheme of things? We have insurance that covers this kind of shit. So
Yeah.
But when you're younger, I mean, you have blinders on. You want to get back.
Sure.
So I'm a big proponent of life coaching. Just calm down. Where are you? Are you a victim right now? He was a victim.
that's why he's the G dad.
Well, what was me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Well, don't be what was you because we're responsible for our lives. Take
course.
care of it.
What was gonna get you? Is what I was thinking.
Get rid of him. I mean, get
Whoa,
rid of him.
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a learning lesson for me. So we like to scale up. As we start scaling up, we love to bring people on. And like he said, when I was like this, I was attracting people in my state.
Sure.
Now I've got some amazing team members. We've got great partners. We've scaled up to over 1,000 units in 5 years. We're gonna add on. We're gonna add on another 240 in 6 weeks. So we're gonna be at 1,500 doors. The majority of the hours we've refi and rolled the majority of our portfolio. We've been able to refinance our proceeds. We're gonna hit $9 million in refinance proceeds by the end of this.
Fantastic.
By the end of next month. Yeah.
So that's
tax-free
how
money,
you're
too.
able to refinance these properties, roll the gains into either the next property or a bigger
We're
one.
not rolling with Ferraris. We're rolling into other assets. That's the whole thing. You really want to be lean and mean when you first start out. You want to get that money and you want to put it to the next asset. That's the name of the game with us.
So
you're
it's
buying,
trading up. if
Yeah.
you will.
Well, you're keeping the asset
You're not
and
really
you're
even
buying the next
trading.
one, right?
You're improving.
So you
taking it off the
you
table.
take that equity off the table and put it
Tax
into the
free,
next project.
and then you roll the next one.
And
Yeah.
it's
Beautiful.
very good. You're keeping the loan to value LTV between 70 and 80% on most of these deals. You've increased
It's what
that net-
1031 wants to be.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So the net operating income has really been increased. We can go in there. We have our own. We're vertically integrated, so we have our own property management company. So
Very
we do
good.
our own property management. We take care of that
That's
aspect.
what
of
that's
it.
what woe is.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You need that.
What was pulling back?
Oh my god.
Wo's got a little more self-awareness now.
Yeah. Well, it takes
So-
it too. I mean, when I first got into this too. I mean, I'm 36 now, but I as my dad used to say, piss and vinegar is useful sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not useful all the time.
Yeah.
And it's definitely you do have to kind of step back a little bit and say, and in the grand scheme of things, am I really going to risk X, Y, or Z over a broken window?
Yeah.
Broken window costs, it's about $500. There's an insurance agent that makes commissions off me, and I'm totally fine with it. And you know what? If a guy breaks a window, you evict him, and you call the insurance company, and someone puts a new window in it.
That's right.
You get on with your day. Now 5-8 years ago, I've been right next to him with a bat. Where
I was sending it at Edible Arrangements, actually. I was sending it to Jim Clayton, that same day after we finished the Clayton deal. So. I remember it vividly. I was pissed.
And I remember
No
sitting in the
kidding.
restaurant going, you know what, this happened to me 6 months ago. A snowplow guy came in, said he plowed the driveway 3 times. He never came once. So I had my Italian mom sitting next to me going, just pay him, Gino. He's going to do something to you. And I was like ready to kill him. And then I'm like, all right, Jake, I see. I can sell it to you because my mom's saying it to me. So it's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
But you talk about piss and vinegar. So let's talk about that. That's the type of catabolic energy. You're living at that catabolic energy. It's okay to live there for a little while.
Sure.
But realize that you're there. You want to raise your level of energy. It's something that's called anabolic, something that's refreshing,
Absolutely.
uplifting. And you want to be in that state. When you're in that state, you hear people being in the zone, people, working at a higher level.
Absolutely.
You want to be there. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't even know what state they're in. They don't even
Sure.
know where to call themselves. And it's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to be a victim, but not for 30 years. It's okay to be a victim for a couple days,
Yeah.
a couple hours,
And then you got to
10
get
minutes.
Then
and
you
get
got to
over it.
get over it.
That's right.
And
That's right.
That lesson, for me, it took a little bit of time. And as we say, like. Guys have thick skulls in general, but it's getting there. We're worming its way through the cracks, if you will. But it does. In our out west, we have a slightly different vocabulary. People call it the flow state out there. So different strokes, if you will. But no, it kind of coming through that journey and getting to where it's no longer one. It's like, hey, we're gonna get a hold of this asset. We're gonna make a big difference. To me, like it brings me happiness to see a multifamily property brought up to better standards, right? And good families moving in, and they've got a safe place to live, and their kids have some place to play, and they're not worried about the next time they flip a light switch, is a light bulb going to explode in their face.
Let's put this though, honestly. When we first started, I tell people to think big but start small.
Okay.
All these problems that we had in the beginning, it was only a 25-unit property. We could handle it. People are going to be
Sure.
overwhelmed and saying, how do you deal with this? He deals more with stuff more in a week than most people deal with in their lives.
Oh,
basically, people dying, people getting burned apartments, firing agents, mold, you name it. He goes through it all week. But he didn't start there. We start out with the first property, and you learn, you lean in. Septic fields go. You learn how to deal with the septic fields.
How much
tenant
did that
doesn't
cost
pay.
you?
It was $9,000 actually. It wasn't that bad actually.
That's not horrible.
No, it wasn't that bad. But when it's unexpected, it hurts.
Yeah. Oh, $9,000.
It wasn't in the operating account at the time.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
it was 3 months of working for free, but it's okay. It's a learning lesson. Right?
we've all been there for sure. So I tell everyone, I hit my first kind of my milestone last year. I finally broke. It took a while, but broke 7 figures in the portfolio. I was all excited. And the morning after Christmas, I have my girlfriend's family. They're staying with us. We had Christmas a day late just because of travel and everything, and the main sewer backed up. No plumbers in. I called my plumber. He's like, I'm in Flagstaff with my family, dude. Sorry.
I know.
Oh man. So I had to give everybody a hug and a kiss, and I said, enjoy the presents. We just finished breakfast. I was like, I gotta go, but
That's right.
You gotta go handle it. And it's interesting how that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't think about it. The day-to-days of property management. You're in the thick of it, right? And just. I would be willing to bet now, like a lot of things don't bother you that probably would have 5 years ago.
Well, it's the Ray Dalio factor. You talk about it's another one of those, and the thing that we do anytime something pops up that's new is we really analyze it and try to put a system and plan in place so that this is how we handle it. So the next time it's less intimidating.
Of course,
it becomes part of the process. And there's man, I gotta find some wood around here because I don't want to say it, but like literally, there's few things at this point. Because we're talking thousands of people's lives every year that we're touching that we haven't seen yet, and unfortunately we're going to see some new things, and there's going to be more of that. But the more we've seen, the more we've been able to put systems in place and processes that say this is how we handle it, and we literally we document it, we review it. Okay, this is what went wrong, and how can we learn from this?
Of course,
that's the most important thing is learning from this stuff, right?
Quick story: we were at the bank about an hour ago signing documents. Our community director for the education calls up and goes, I'm like, let it go to voicemail. He picks up. A tenant got Jake and Gino's number and called our community director, Josh, and was complaining about the apartment. And he's like, no big deal. They're freaking out. He's like, just get over the product. Like, 5 years ago, we'd be like, what do we do? It's just like, we're signing docs for a big deal.
It was a mom, and we have one of our community directors is moving on. Okay. And he's staying on for finishing out his 2 weeks, but, he called in sick today. Yeah. So he's kind of checked out. Yeah. And so while we have coverage there, it is still like, okay, now what? Because you get someone pissed off, so we had to escalate the regional, and so there was someone that wasn't in the mix normally, and of course. It was like freaking out. And I'm like, but he handled it well, and I think he's on the sales side of things, so I think it was good for him to experience more because he's a part of the entire community, and the more that he sees, the more he understands about apartments, and I think it was good because he's a very good customer service and sales rep. So I think having that received from him was probably good for the resident because he listened, documented it, and then we passed it on.
People just want to be heard. So I think
I think that's why there was probably, if there was any good to come out of that, it was that he listened and we were able to document it and then pass it on.
I think my main goal of that whole story is T. Harv Eker says it. If you're a level 5 person and you have a level 7 problem, you're gonna have problems, right? But if you're a level 9
this was like a level 12 problem because the carpet smelled like dog pee. It was a big issue that came out of it. So,
but you can deal with it. I mean, that's why I say start small. Start with a 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 unit, whatever you can handle, and learn from that. And if and when you like it, move on to the next one. Sure. So you can grow. And as you start growing, they won't even become problems. They won't even be a blip on the radar. He's signing documents like, just do this. Reach out to her. It's like another thing of the day, right?
Yeah. We got a lot of kids in the family, right? We got to take care of them all. We got to answer the questions when they come up and provide solutions. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny how that works. It's just what was a problem a few years ago is just not that big a deal anymore. It's been, again, I'm on a very small scale compared to you guys. I would obviously like to scale up. That's kind of my next iteration, if you will. I'm playing around the 4 to 8 unit space at the moment. Works great. I've learned a lot, clearly. But as you were saying, you figure it out. You're like, okay, this happened. We had a sewer main backup on the day before Christmas, or the day after Christmas. What are we going to do now so we don't have any more of these ever? Can
I tell you what the worst thing you could have done was? Avoid it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I really do think hitting this stuff head on, because if you're in real estate and you're going to be even remotely anything in life, if be active in your life, I think that's an even better way of putting it. But when something happens and you don't understand it, attack it.
Sure.
Attack that so hard, because that time where you're just wondering what is going to happen, what if, that is where the misery in our lives takes place. So when you see these issues, you just hit them head on, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Same thing with the phone call that came in, right? If I would have like passed on the phone call and then he would have left like a frantic message, that 30 seconds until I would have got to them would have been worse than just, hey man, it's all good, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's really gonna be fine.
Because you're wondering, wait, is there something really? Is like someone dead?
Sure.
You know that's where people's emotional state gets to sometimes.
Absolutely.
So
and has that happened to you? I mean, if you had to deal with tenants passing on and
of
all that
course,
kind of stuff?
yeah. I mean, with like thousands of people. I mean, literally in our first complex, that 25 unit one, there was a lady with diabetes, had a heart attack, and just a couple weeks ago we had someone commit suicide.
Wow.
So
what do you do in that situation?
You handle it. We have good folks on staff. You call the authorities. You get everything documented, make sure that they go over the place. But I mean, realistically, when you're talking about someone passing, you're there to make sure the area is secure, that people are being contacted that are in that know immediate family,
sure.
and that you're just working with the authorities so they can do their job. That's not our our job is to just make sure that everyone's being taken care of as best we can, and make sure it's a transition. Really,
of course,
it's kind of morbid, but that is a transition out.
And that's going to happen. I mean, if you're going to get into
that's
business,
life.
That's part.
Sure.
That's part
These are people's homes.
So we had a tenant about a year ago. She was smoking. She had an oxygen tank.
Oh no.
Didn't end good.
No.
Big fire. So I mean, that was a tough one. I mean, you see her in there. So what happens? Family members come. They all want to come to the apartment. They want to take her possessions. It's like
news is trying to get pictures, and we're like, guys, this is private property. Please move on.
Yeah.
Because they want to sensationalize everything, of course.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what they say.
But not to scare anybody. I mean, that's just part of it. You grow into that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to buy your first property. That's not going to happen to your first property. And if it does, you're
No,
really an unlucky person.
But here's the thing.
At least it's out of the way.
It
You got
may.
your first one over with.
It may, right? It may happen, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're in a business that's a basic human need. People need places to live.
Sure.
And if you're going to be in it, you're going to have to solve those kinds of problems.
Okay.
Fortunately, when that stuff does happen, you have a good team in place, and then, like you said, you get it to the people that handle that. So.
Wow. Yeah. Always something new to learn, huh?
Yeah.
So, and there's no manual.
I want less new things to learn on the property management side. I want to say we've seen it all. We know how to deal with it. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't think that day's coming anytime soon. In my experience, anyway.
I was optimistic till this point of the interview here.
I haven't talked to anybody who said they've seen it all at this point and been successful.
It's people's lives. It's crazy. You see some new. I mean, we've walked in on inspections and seen chickens that they were like being bred to fight.
Chickens.
I've done actual. I've walked other people's properties where we were doing walkthroughs. We were thinking about buying it, and this big ass pig attacked me. I mean, it was like this tall. I don't know if you want to call it a boar, but I had to run out. So
he didn't tell me that. That one he didn't tell me.
Yeah, that's South Knoxville deal.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Buzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who I'm talking about.
Run off a property by a pig.
Out of the unit. And I stayed on the property. I got out of the unit. So.
Did you buy it?
No, that's a whole other story though.
But it didn't have anything to do with the pig. Huh?
No, I would have. I like meat. I would eat some bacon.
Sure. Pigs are good. I'm not gonna lie.
Had bacon this morning. Actually, it was delicious.
Boar, yes. Boar meat is good.
So
my friend.
he was nice and plump, ready to go. So
he was living indoors. I mean, clearly, it was a pretty good pig.
Yeah.
So, wow. Yeah, you could probably find someone in Tennessee to help you cut him up too.
Yeah, I got the G-Dad here. He would have known what to do with him.
We don't want to scare anyone off real estate. It's still the best vehicle. It's still got great tax benefits. It still has the appreciation. It still has your tenants paying.
Hey, this is a conversation to manage or not to manage, right?
Yes.
You want to self-manage? This is kind of stuff that you can expect, or you can hire property management.
And that's why
companies,
property management companies need to be compensated because it's not an easy job.
Sure.
They need to be compensated. They need to be paid what the market is paying them. But you need to hold them accountable. How do you hold them accountable? You get on calls every week or every 2 weeks. You make sure they're hitting their key performance indicators based on vacancy. I mean, how many units are still vacant? What's your delinquency? Is everybody paying? Are you doing evictions? Are you following protocol? Are you collecting rents? What does that look like? But you need to hold them accountable.
And that goes back to the framework, though. Sorry, I mean, because if you look, you're talking about the framework before with your commercial deal. It's buy right, manage right, and finance right. And it's each leg of the framework has its own challenges. But if you look at it, the buy side initially, it's hard. When you're starting out and you want people to take you seriously, it's hard to buy that first deal.
So hard.
then now we're talking about the manage right portion of our framework. Managing can be challenging without the proper systems.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So did you have to write your own systems, or is there a book out there?
We're constantly
No,
evolving
we
the
did. We
systems.
wrote the book.
Yeah.
That was Wheelbarrow Profits. I mean,
That was it.
That was, as we were going through it, we said, wow, this is not rocket science, but it really comes down to a three-legged stool, and that's why we chose the wheelbarrow, because you have the
Sure.
two back legs are fixed. Once you buy it, it's not moving, and once you finance, we want long-term fixed-rate debt in place, and the wheel is the manager. It's just constant, ongoing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can get that long-term fixed-rate debt, you can buy it at a good price, then it's focused on the management.
And how was that process starting out? Because I mean, my first commercial mortgage, I'd never done it before. I got it done, right? But it was a hustle for sure. I got laughed out of more than a couple of bankers' offices.
Did you have a mentor, coach / education with you doing that, or no?
Not particularly. I would call on friends or acquaintances in my circle that were kind of in the business.
Yeah.
We did the same thing. I mean, on our first deal, it was tough. The financing was tough.
But we got screwed. I mean, like if we bought it at the right price, we didn't really know how to manage well, but we were figuring it out. But our financing, we did owner finance, which was good, but the bank really kind of, they took advantage of us.
Well, and you're in. I mean, I was in the same place, right? So I had an owner finance, but I needed the building as I saw it.
Tell me about your terms. I just want to hear what you got.
Let me see. I got 10% down on an owner carry, 8% interest only for the first, and then three different principal buy downs.
That's hefty, though.
So it is, but the building wouldn't perform for a bank as it sat.
Yes.
So I needed time to get it.
This was not 1980s, though.
No, it wasn't.
8%'s a lot, right?
Well, I mean, on commercial,
It
so the
depends.
bank loan I have now, I think is 5.375.
There you go.
Right,
Yep.
and that was better.
You refied.
Yeah, so I had an 18-month runway with the owner carry. I was able to refi out in 6.
Excellent.
Which was great,
Well
right?
done.
Well, you gotta under promise and over deliver, because the last thing I want. And the guy who financed it, who owned it, was a private money lender who took it back from the last guy. So he clearly knows how to foreclose.
Yes.
So I didn't want to mess with any of that. I'm like, I need 18 months,
I
and
wanna
I knew
keep
I knew I could get it done faster. But when I was talking to him, I was like, 18 months. I think I can get it done, right?
Excellent.
Because you don't want to get caught. There's
18 months can go quick, too.
You aren't kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, I was squeaking by on the road. Didn't have a ton of money for the renovations. So I got dirty. Did some of it myself and managed to get some great tenants. But yeah, it was a hustle. And then with the bank, I probably wasn't as hard on negotiating as I should have been, because I could just hear the clock, tick tock. Let's get this done.
Everything is negotiable, though. That's what we learned when we start the real estate.
But he got a short-term pain, long-term gain, right?
Yes.
He was in for high rate and got out, rolled it out. So it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's my first one. You get better. This next, 4-unit building, this little fourplex I got, and that was easy. I mean, once you've done it, it's, they did this like, no. This is what the market is.
Getting your first one done is huge.
Yeah, and that was really tough. And I'm very curious. When you guys first went on the 25 unit, what did that structure look like? Was that the owner carry?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did all that work? What were your terms? Now that you're
So no, it wasn't good. Gino's got a better memory than I do.
6% interest rate.
Okay.
We had 10% down, 10% carry. It was a 20-year AM, and that's what hurt us. We should have gotten a 25, but he gave us a 20-year AM. I recommend everyone to do 25-year AMs with community banks.
For
Push
sure.
back. They always want to give you the 20, the 15-year AMs. Go for 25, and if they don't, find another bank and pit them. Money's a commodity.
Sure.
Money's basically a commodity nowadays. You can find it anywhere. So go and find the right guys. And reason why we did this is the bank actually held a note that we were buying. So the bank knew, and the bank's like, yeah, we'll do owner financing. So for us, we were okay by using the same bank. 18 months later, we refinanced the deal out. We got a 4.29 interest rate, 25-year AM, and we got a 7-year term, which was great. We had a 5-year term. So 7 So I mean,
And the cash out.
and we got
Was it
164,000.
4.29.
Yes,
That's fantastic.
well, what happened was it went from a 20 to 25-year AM, right? And the rate, it dropped almost 2 points. The rate from 6 to 4.29. So you're getting a longer AM, you're getting a much lower interest rate. Our NOI
So
went
your
up.
cash flow just went through the roof.
Yes, exactly. So we cashed out 164 grand. We only had 84,000 into the deal, so that's what happened. So you just roll into the next one.
So I'm gonna ask, how much did you buy 25 units for in Knoxville, Tennessee?
We paid at the time in February of
600, right?
2013 $600,000.
600 grand
Yeah.
for 25
You're
units.
coming
Yes.
off the back of the Great Recession,
Yeah.
though, too.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it was
when
called
was this? 2015.
It was called the Shamrock Motel. It had a 6-unit efficiency. It had some cottages. It had a couple of fourplexes. So it wasn't your basic
It looked like this, right?
Yeah, I'll bet it did.
Not. But you know what? That puts money in my pocket. This thing don't put money in my pocket, my friend. This thing's sucking it out. You see the pool back there?
Yeah.
Wish it didn't do that. You know what I mean?
You better be collecting the rent.
You know, so I mean, what I loved about the deal was that it was something that we could manage. It was we had to come up with $83,000 as the down payment. Me, him, my brother, all three of us partnered. It was a great learning experience. It was what we call the fixer J casino model. It was distressed. You have to add value to these properties. Where's the value?
Okay.
There were weekly renters, so we got the weekly renters out. We made them monthly. The expenses were exorbitant.
Let me talk about the mom and pops real quick, because you're hitting that. But their mentality was, if the renters can bring cash on Friday, we're gonna give them free cable. So that was one of the things we had to cut. That was one of the first times.
$6,000 a year.
Yeah.
For cable?
They were paying the cable. So
Yeah.
they paid utilities. They paid cable. And they said if they can go across the street to the gas station and get a pizza, and we turn the cable on for them, that was their mentality on their residents.
That's their tenant retention.
That's who they
right
thought
there.
they wanted.
Yes.
Give us cash, check in Friday, stay for the week, and it was weekly rentals. If you're there next week, great. If not, we'll throw someone else in and not do anything to it.
Wow. So it was a motel.
There was
there was 6 units were considered a motel at one point,
Yeah.
but they just turned
Okay.
it into all weekly rentals. And so they collected every week.
Terrible tenant base, but it's unfortunate
only
that.
imagine.
But
Opioid epidemic. I didn't know about opioids coming from New York. I'm sure it's there, but I didn't know about it. And so I was like seeing needles, and they're doing something with pills, shooting them up, and there was like zombies, going around this property.
No kidding. Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So, big problem.
So we had to get. We got everybody out. We put new residents in. We put all new roofs on it, and just like these metal roofs here, we put metal roofs throughout the entire complex.
Sure.
And we did a lot of upgrades to it, and one of the nicest things is always, I go back to this. The mail lady said thank you. I used to not feel comfortable
which
coming
is
through
really
here.
cool. And the other thing is, I said
that's incredible.
Yeah.
The mail lady at the Fourplex told me the same thing.
They don't
She
wanna
said,
be-
You said this is. She's like, this is a great place. There were some problem tenants in there that had to go. They were doing drugs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's really interesting about the mail lady.
It's improving the community. So then it's like one of the things that multifamily did was it opened my eyes to so many things, because I wanted to get into it because I knew it was a basic human need and it was going to throw off yield. It was going to make a return. But going through it, I didn't know about the tax benefits as well as I should have. I didn't know about the refis. I just didn't know about the actual wealth building that was going to take place. And then on top of it, we created all these other businesses, cable contracts, laundry contracts, all these other businesses started coming out of it. And then on top of it, we're doing good for the community and getting people to thank us for improving our communities that I live and work in. So there's so much good. And then on top of it, we actually created something called Rand Cares. So our companies, we have Rand Partners, which is our syndication business, and Rand Property Management. We started a company called Rand Cares, and we fed nearly 10,000 kids last Thanksgiving.
Wow.
We just pooled all of our companies. We ran a competition amongst all the offices, and
That's cool.
so it's just
That's very neat.
when you really put your head down, and a few years later you look up and say, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
But now we're feeding kids for Thanksgiving. Which started off with the opioids.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's an incredible turnaround.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
mail lady and the kids are happy with us. So
Hey,
we're doing something right.
You're winning right there.
Yeah, that's winning.
And
Charlie
now Gino's
Sheen,
got
baby.
a pool. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's exactly right.
Went from washing dishes to sitting by the pool. That's absolutely incredible. Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. So this first one, that was kind of the catalyst for the whole thing, and then you guys learned about the financing and
Learn by doing.
rolling and
Yeah.
Well, I did go through coaching, so I did go through
Okay.
coaching, and the coaching helped me out. Real estate coaching is a big thing, and then during this transition, I'm going to get out of the restaurant. I went to life coaching school. I became certified as a life coach, and I just needed clarity. We all need clarity in our lives, and I didn't have the clarity. I didn't know what I wanted. You ask somebody what they want, they'll say, "Yeah, I don't want to do this," but I'm not asking you that. I'm saying, "What do you want?" So once you figure that out, you figure out your why. You can figure out how. And for me, it was
So talk about
multifamily.
the differences between us, because it's really interesting. We have actually we test our property management employees because we want to find out what type of personalities fit in the best roles. So I took one of these. What was the test I took the other day?
Oh, you're talking about a learning test. So basically, the 3 types of learning. He's a kinesthetic. He's kinesthetic
and that's why
all the
though,
way.
because it was
Yes.
like I basically learned by doing. And Gino, and the great thing about our relationship was, and why it's so impactful with the Jake and Gino community is because I needed to be coached, but didn't realize it at the time. He went through real estate multifamily coaching, but I'm kind of like, oh, let me just get into it.
Sure.
So while I'm going through this kind of hands-on with the property management, he's coaching me at the same time. And then it was
Really?
like almost like this like light bulb went off. We wrote the book, and then we're like,
Hey,
this is what it takes
Boom.
to kind of get this stuff done.
Wow.
And I might have been too thick-headed and not open-minded enough at the time to realize that I needed the coaching.
Sure.
And I was fortunate enough to be boots on the ground for Gino while he was transitioning out of the restaurant. And that's kind of where the Jake and Gino community comes in at this point.
Well, I think
So-
we all have a responsibility to learn,
Yeah.
then to do, and then to teach. I think everybody, if they can do that, you have to actually learn what you're doing. You learn it, you put in the thousands of hours to do it. Then you start actually doing it. You actually boots on the ground, you start talking to tenants, you start doing it, and then eventually, once you teach, the great thing about it is if you hear anyone say that they're a self-proclaimed expert, just run. Because no one should be an expert because you're a constant learner. You're learning constantly. You know, trends are changing, demographics are changing, markets are changing, tenants are changing, technology's changing, everything's changing.
Everything.
So you're constantly learning, right? And that's why I love the podcast, because we can be able to speak to a Robert Kiyosaki, a T. Harv Eker. I'm able to speak to these great business leaders, and we're learning from them. So it's basically constantly evolving and just constantly staying on top of your game and enjoying it. And it's just a constant evolution.
Yeah,
And
that
all
flow
goes
of
back to the
information
framework,
is
too.
priceless. You know, I mean,
It really is.
The opportunity for you to talk to those guys. I mean, we're sitting here talking, and you know, I learned stuff. I'm learning stuff right now, and it's an incredible way to kind of connect with everybody.
But if you go back to the framework, the buy right, the manage right, and the finance right, each one of those pieces of the framework, it's constantly changing. Freddie Mac is updating the rates weekly. You know, cap rates are changing by the week. There's different ways that people are managing. We do move-in fees. Some people do security deposits. Everything is constant and evolving. So if you're not changing as things are changing, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, if you're not
You
going
have
forward,
to continually be learning and growing. Or it's literally that.
Yeah.
It goes back to the grow or die mentality, and I believe that.
And I've heard that too, and 100% believe it. That, you know, if you're not moving forward, there's no such thing as stagnation, right? Stagnation.
Well, there is. You die.
Yeah, slow death, right?
Yeah.
It's just no thanks. But you know, you have to sit there and study what's going on. You know, we have, you know, I tend to concentrate on the markets out west. Don't ask me why, because the cap rates are stupid low and you can't buy anything for less than
appreciation place.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, I mean, in LA, if you can find a property that kicks off 1.5 to 2%, you are kicking ass, right?
That's painful, huh? Is that painful?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. You know, I have my goal is a gross 10 cap out of this fourplex, and everyone's got still thinks I'm nuts for even trying. Like, there's no way. I can do it, right? I have the math down, but you just don't get the cash flow out west that you do. You know, there's some very small towns with very fragile economies.
Yeah, but that's not where you want to be either, though.
Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned the property management. In these small towns, that's the big issue. If you're not managing your own stuff, it's hard to find, you know, 100,000 and less MSA population. It might be difficult to find a property management unless you have a city next to that town where you can feed off of. But if you don't have that, be wary. If you're not going to self-manage your stuff, anything, I think less than 100,000, right?
It's people and jobs are driving, you know, these multifamily communities. If there's not people and there's not jobs there.
You need demand for your space.
Yeah.
It's basically supply and demand. If there's too much supply of apartments and there's not enough demand as far as population growth or jobs, where are you going to get it? You want that rent growth too. That's what's going to drive rents.
Absolutely.
People moving in, jobs moving in. If they don't, they stagnate, like you said, then you're not going to get that rent growth, or you're not going to be able to grow your income.
So what's your 30-second version? Because I get this question all the time. You know, what markets are the best for that? And I hate that question because it's so vague.
So let me tell you what I like to buy. I like to buy in areas where there's people moving into. You're seeing population. You're seeing job growth. I like business-friendly areas because you're not gonna. If I need to evict someone, I need to have property rights.
Sure.
I want property rights, and I want people moving into an area, and then I want to apply the framework that we use, the buy right, manage right, and finance right. So I think that, you know, for myself, it's funny, he's in Jacksonville. When I first moved out of New York, I was saying, all right, I want to get out of New York. I want a more affordable cost of living. I want better weather. And I looked at
No
literally
state income tax.
no state income tax. I looked at East Tennessee. I looked at Northern Florida, and they check the box big time, especially if you look at Nashville, Jacksonville. Those areas are on fire.
Nashville's exploding, but everything's gotten really expensive.
But so we're a few hours to the east, and we're getting a lot of that runoff from Nashville and Knoxville, and literally our demand is through the roof. There's jobs coming in. I hope Nashville gets some more of that Amazon action because they left New York, right? They're not doing that deal.
Yeah.
And it's been tremendous from us because we're buying for cash flow today. And that's every deal that we do. We're looking to buy for cash flow today and force appreciation tomorrow through excellent management. And that's what we've done that time and time again.
Basically, what he likes to say for all you football guys out there, the SEC. Southeast Conference. That's where he likes to focus on. So we're within 3 hours of Knoxville, but you look at markets like Chattanooga.
You got Chick-fil-A and Kroger next to you, we might be buying. It's true. They do the heavy market research, and we'll come in behind you.
Sure. And
keep it simple.
Out west, it's funny. There's a whole theory of real estate that they call Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Right. So if
Same
a Whole
thing.
Foods is moving into a market, the flippers will run in. They buy every rundown piece of junk house in there because they know that
that's gentrifying.
Whole Foods customers are coming in and they want quartz counters, they want new cabinets, and they will pay for them.
Yeah.
So that's really
so it's the same mentality, but we're looking for Chicky Flicky.
Kroger and Chick-fil-A.
So literally, our last deal, we're driving out of the area that we were not in love with, and all of a sudden the seas started to part. We saw residential communities. We saw Kroger. And then we bought the deal. And it was as simple as that. We're out. 132 units. Count it.
Yeah,
we're simple. We're simple guys, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm telling you, it's not rocket science.
No, so. I don't think it is. You know, some of the points you touched on earlier. You know, I love that it's the staying power. You know, it's getting kicked down 150 times, and the 151st time you get up, and you know it works, right? And it's just it's really interesting to hear it, you know, because you guys are on a massive scale at this point. You know, 1,100 units is nothing to sneeze at, as they say.
Yeah, and between all the different, I mean, we have the mortgage brokering company right now. We got the, you know, the Rand Cares. We got the Jake and Gino, the podcast, the media. So there's you know, all in. It's like for us, it's a big deal. There's over 40 people that we're working in with that, not counting subs and everything. So it's
Wow.
You know, there's a lot of folks that we're touching and impacting their lives every day. Not to mention our residents. So there's a lot of responsibility there, and I feel you know we call it the Rand fam, you know, and everyone's really, it's a tight knit group that looks out for each other, and we just I think we really love what we do, and it's like, you know, people talk about this passion. You gotta find what you love and then do it, and everything's gonna be great. And while, you know, I don't know that I'm so passionate about property management, I think putting in the hours that we've done, we've gotten really good at it, and so I don't always necessarily believe that. The you know, follow your passion, everything will work out. If you're working with a group of people that you really like and you're good at what you're doing and you continue to grow off that, I think that's where people find happiness, and I think that's why it's been a little flawed. Maybe I am passionate about it, but I think I'm passionate about the folks. I'm passionate about what we're building, and I think that fuels the growth of the company a lot of times. So it's just I know. Look, and I love Steve Jobs, and I know he's the one that said it, but I've always looked at it, and you know, because I tried to follow my passion. I was a football player in high school, played a little bit in college, and I went to be a gym teacher, and I wanted to put a gun in my mouth. You know, I'm sitting there with these kids, and it's like, you don't want to play dodgeball? The fuck is wrong with you? This is the best part of your day.
Let's go play right now, dude. Yeah,
it's like, are you kidding me?
Do you want to leave and go back and do math? We can do that
so
too.
Literally, I'm driving back from my dad's house, and I had an epiphany. I was working at Radio Shack at the time, and I was like, this sales thing. At least I'm competing. Like, let me do more of this. And I ended up, you know, in a sales job. But
you never told me the dodgeball story, dude.
I just was like, what did I do? Because I grew up in a small town in Western New York, and I'm just like, what do I do? Like my grandparents were like, well, you could be like your grandfather and be a cop. And then I took the test, and they said I was like nuts, and I didn't pass the psych exam.
Thank
God.
Yeah, you are definitely cut out of the apartment business.
Thank God, right? And then so I'm like, all right, well, let's be a gym teacher. And then I ended up being a drug rep. So
Cop, gym teacher.
Property
manager.
Yeah, I couldn't be a cop, so I sold some drugs. Didn't like selling drugs. Now I manage property.
Yeah, and so, you know.
And I sell drugs to my
No,
tenants.
but definitely not. Right? So we discourage that, and we're actually looking for safe, clean, and affordable homes. Gino, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. God, that is too funny. So, too funny. So what's next for the two of you?
Growth, baby.
Yeah?
That's what I'm saying. No, really. I mean, we're doing a lot of good, you know, on the Jake and Gino front. Excited about, you know, growing the Rand Cares. The property management is doing fantastic. And like Gino said, we're knocking out deals like every 3 months. We got 243 units right now. We're doing a $17 million deal. This is a syndication through Rand Partners. Fantastic. So I think it's just, you know, continually to improve our systems. You know, I think just you know, we were big into EOS. We still really love it. I just went through scaling up, so I'm always looking for, you know, better ways to put in systems for everything, and just, you know, continue to work on our culture, because you know, the buy-in from our folks is phenomenal, and growing, you know, the culture, and you know, really giving people a good reason to show up every day and do what they're doing. And you know, the folks that are with us for a while that actually have invested in some of our deals. So think about it, you know, as a community manager, you're getting into it, and maybe you had a restaurant background, and then we pulled you over, and now you're managing people's homes, and now you're all of a sudden a
real estate investor.
You got a piece of the deal.
And you got a piece of the deal. So we've allowed, on our last deal, we opened it up for some of our tenured folks, and it's like that long-term vision, and now they're seeing the wealth building piece.
Absolutely, and they're going to manage all that much better.
Mm-hmm. Because now they got a piece of it. So it's just, those are the things we're working on because we want to be around for the long term and really grow this thing. And
absolutely.
Yeah. That's what it's about, right?
I'm looking to learn the craft more. I'm looking to become a better coach, become a better motivator, and just to inspire people. And to, people get on calls. We do a lot of coaching calls. The more I can help people out, that's what I'm looking to do.
Well, if you want to practice, you can come out to Scottsdale and help me. That'd be fine. We can take you through some really low cap rate areas. You tell me how to get that done. So, yeah, it's an interesting market. So, well, guys, I can't thank you enough for having me here, and this was an absolutely incredible conversation. So the world needs more Jake and Ginos. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I'm glad you wrote and read your first book.
Yeah,
truly, I
listen.
am.
It's just it's just I find it easier to listen than to actually read. Yeah, and I it's like the Lord of the Rings. I just watch the movies now.
Yeah, so. It worked out. Yeah, the books kind of lost me too. So very good. But no, I again thank you two for having me out. I mean, this home is beautiful. I understand why you
the beach, right? You had to go to the beach for a
little bit. We stopped by there this morning to make sure no one stole the ocean. It was
still there.
It was still around, so it's
looking good.
It certainly was. So, and
My pleasure.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
So we need to do this again sometime.
Anytime. House is always open.
Outstanding. And I'm gonna go chase down that next complex, and you're gonna hear about it. So,
I love that.
It'll be good. And
likewise.
Yeah. We got it done. Oh, good. No more dodgeball, huh? So maybe that'll be the next
I want more dodgeball.
Well, actually, we're going to open a dodgeball court on our apartment complex. So why don't we do that, bro?
Let me talk to Kelly in Insurance.
Yeah, talk to the insurance guy first. What's that? Oh, that's a dodgeball court? No, it's not.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just some helmets or something.
I like that, dude.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, guys, thank you again for watching. I hope we didn't bore you too bad on this one. If you're interested in learning more, jakeandgino.com, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, jakeandgino.com, Jake and Gino on Instagram, or go check out one of their live events. Clearly, they're a wealth of knowledge, and I hope everything goes well in your journey, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.